keynote speaker now, Elin Elkehag. When I spoke to her, my strongest impression was energy and determination. Now, Elin is a person who definitely uses change as an engine to move forward in all aspects of life. She left Sweden after an impressive career in innovation on executive levels at large Swedish corporations like Telia and Ericsson. After evaluating cities all around the globe, she opted for San Francisco. I wonder why. Where she now lives and runs her latest startup, MyStilla.com. She is here today to tell her story and insights with us. The fact that it's the fast that beats the slow, and what large corporations must learn from small ones in order to survive. So please give Elin a warm hand. And I'd just like to say this also, because now you're going to talk for a while, and then we'll have a discussion. But guys, this is your conference, or this is your symposium. Remember that. So we really want you to be involved, okay? So I might have some questions, but what if I don't ask the questions that you're interested in hearing? Raise your hand, and we'll of course involve you, okay?
Hi, nice to see you all. Let's see if I have a presentation as well. Oh, great. Yeah, that's me. My name is Elin, and as she just said, 2 years ago, I pivoted my life. I sold everything I have. I used to be one of you guys. I used to work as an entrepreneur. I used to work with innovation. I was a strategy consultant doing kind of what you're doing. But I wasn't really happy. So I decided, okay, life is too short not to be happy. So I moved after the little evaluation she mentioned. And I literally got off the plane with 2 suitcases in San Francisco and a stomach full of butterflies. And I didn't even have a plan what I was going to do. I just knew that I wanted to be there. So it took 2 weeks before I was recruited to an accelerator called Wearable World that is focused on Internet of Things and wearable technology. And given that my background is more in management and business development and innovation, I help them a lot with business models and optimization and things like that, but I'm also really nerdy. I'm a geek inside. That's why I ended up in Silicon Valley. So I decided that I wanted to learn how to actually code. I have done a little bit of software coding before, but I wanted to learn how to code hardware. So I met with my friend Simone, who's starting to be a YouTube star here in Sweden as well. She's the queen of shitty robots, is her name. You might have seen some of the videos online. And we were learning how to code Arduino boards. This is an Arduino board. It's a little computer full of little chips and sensors and stuff. And this was my first time ever. So I just learned how to make it blink blue when the accelerometer moved. That was very high tech, but that's what I did. But we were sitting in a cafe in central San Francisco, and I accidentally dropped it on my bag. And when I picked it up, it started blinking. And I was like, you know what, that would be pretty cool if it did something else. I know at least all the ladies can kind of relate because you have your purse, but also you guys, when you have a computer bag, you sit at an event like this and talk to someone and you're like, okay, where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? I kind of want to fix that. So I didn't think so much more about it, but a few weeks later, I literally woke up in the middle of the night, like, oh my God, I need this thing. This is what I'm going to do. Found a little paper like next to my bed and like started drawing, like, okay, it's going to be like this little alarm for like purses, and you can put it on like your stroller for babies or for like senile people when they walk away. It's going to cost like this. It's going to look just like this is what I want to do. But I've actually done a hardware startup before, Elin of Sweden, together with my sister. And it was physical gift wrapping of digital memories. And I did that on the side of my day job. I was a strategy consultant at Connecta, so I was working like 60 hours a week, and then I had family and I had other stuff. I was like, it took 4 years. I was like, I can't do this again. I'm too old to kind of put 4 years of my life to do something kind of on the side. So I decided, is it possible to start a hardware company in 100 days? And if it is, and if it's actually a good idea that other people want, not only me, I'll do it. So given my background and prototyping, and that I knew absolutely nothing about accelerometers and smart algorithms and AI and Bluetooth and whatever I needed, I started with what I knew. PowerPoint. So this was my first MVP. Like, okay, I kind of want it to be like a little button and kind of look like this. And then I went home and found a little gadget that was kind of like the right size. So this was literally my first 45 days. I went around to every single person I met and like, hey, I kind of want to have this thing. I kind of want it to look like kind of like this and work kind of like that. And I also wanted to kind of alarm my watch. So if I don't have my phone on me, I want it to alert me. What do you think? Is that a good idea? And how would I actually do this? So every single person I met was like, is this a good idea? How can you help me move forward? And one of the guys I met when I was doing this exploration and question and answering kind of period happened to be at the cocktail party in San Francisco, which is one of the reasons I live there. He happened to be the CTO of Apple. Like, I had no idea. My friend was talking to some gentleman. I walked up and like, so what do you do? I'm kind of the CTO of Apple. I was like, oh, great, I have a question for you. I kind of want to do this thing. This is what I showed the CTO of Apple. I kind of want to have this thing, kind of like this, and I want it to work for my Apple Watch. How do I make that happen? Can I program directly to the watch, or how does it work? And he was kind of a little bit surprised, but he also liked the idea. So I was like, okay, well, if the CTO of Apple thinks this is kind of a good idea, maybe it is. So then I took the next step. I realized I need a prototype. The problem was that I was still doing this on the side of my day job. I was doing consulting work for Telia, actually doing innovation strategies to fund myself because I didn't have any money. I didn't have any knowledge. I just wanted this thing. I wanted to solve this problem that I had of being worried about things, but I didn't really have any money to do it. So I was like, okay, I'll go to Sweden. I'll do some strategy consulting so I can kind of finance this. So in the countryside, or at my mom's kitchen table, I made 27 prototypes. I went to Clas Ohlson, bought some clay and some paint, and then I was like getting to work. What should it look like? Should it be round? Should it be square? Should it look like a little button? How should I actually do this? And then I went out to my mom and to her neighbors and everyone I met. How should this be? Do you want this color, that color? Should it be this size? Do you like the idea? How would you use it? When would you use it? And stuff like that. And after a while, they narrowed it down to these three. It's like, okay, good kind of shiny colors. It should be this kind of thing. The name was before StillaInc, before it's called Stilla now. And I sent it off to my old designers. It's like, okay, yeah, that looks pretty cool. I want one of those. And that's kind of where I needed to make a decision. Before then, I had literally spent quite a lot of hours, but I hadn't spent any more than like $47 worth of paint and clay. But here somewhere, I kind of had to make a decision. Should I make this? Because I had to take my personal savings to should I really make a physical hardware product? Because it's pretty expensive, and I didn't really know. I didn't have a plan for it yet. But I was like, okay, I really want this. So the next 32 days were the most intense days of my life. I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, Skyped with a factory in China, which was some suppliers that I met during this first investigative period of questions and answers. Went to Telia, worked for 8 hours, and then in the evening, I talked to my CTO and my team in the US to write patents and register companies and stuff like that. And it was super, super hard. But we went from this to this in 32 days. And I don't know if you have done hardware, but that's pretty hard. So we kind of learned some stuff in this process. And one thing is speed beats perfection. This is what I had. It wasn't perfect, but it was everything I needed in order to get answers and move forward. And also, the next one is like hungry, be smart. I didn't need to know everything. I had no idea how to do this, but I learned, and you learn quickly, and you need to do that. And you can't be afraid to ask stupid questions. Oh my God, I've asked so many stupid questions, but I've learned a lot along the way. The other one, especially for you guys who are maybe working for larger corporations and stuff like that, in my case, I needed to find my tribe. I needed to go to Silicon Valley to find my nerdy crowd to kind of make this happen. But in your case, it can be maybe working with a department that you haven't worked with before. You might find a friend somewhere else that you kind of, oh, I really want to do this project at the office. And you might find some other allies that you feel that this is my group, this is my tribe, this is where I get energy in order to move this project forward. Another one is, especially for you guys, is that things doesn't need to be expensive. I developed a product so far for $47, and I did it on my spare time, so that you don't have time and that you don't have money, especially when you're working with colleagues, you have a fixed salary, you have endless of resources. So that is not an excuse not to do and move forward for what you want to do. And that's the same thing, like focus. If you really want to do something, you need to kind of move forward as long as you can with the resources that you have. I went so far to like day 68 on paint and clay in order to talk to the customers. Who were my customers? What should it look like? How I had so many things, and then I made it happen. So focus on what you want to make and make it happen. So that was the first 100 days. And that's also one thing. It's so much easier to make a product than to build a company. Making a product took 100 days, but building a company has taken over a year. So where are we now? I just want to show you a little bit. Oops. So someone made this. Let's see. You have. Let's see. Do we have YouTube? Where? Let's go see. I have to do it like this because I don't know this program. Okay, we'll do this. This was not planned. And we can't hear anything. Can you help, please? Our things are important to us. I hear it a little bit, but it doesn't really hear. It was... Ja. Ja, det är på fullt. Perfect. Our things are important to us. But so is our focus, peace of mind, and time with our loved ones. Don't you hate it when you're trying to enjoy yourself, but you're stuck worrying about your belongings? So do we, and that's why we created Stilla. Stilla is a smart and affordable motion detector that you activate through your phone or smartwatch. When something moves that shouldn't, you will get an instant notification. My name is Elin, and I'm the CEO and founder of Stilla. I invented Stilla to solve everyday problems for everyday people. Now we need your help to bring Stilla to market. With your support, we can cover tooling, certifications, and manufacturing costs, so we can finalize our production. Back us on Indiegogo so you can get some peace of mind and focus on what's important in life. Okay. So, let's see. Yeah. So, the last thing we just did, so that's from the clay prototypes to this, is a year and a half, is that we did a campaign on something called Indiegogo to crowdfund this. Okay, I'll have no idea what that was. I'll just do that, and then hopefully it doesn't continue. So what is crowdfunding? We were supposed to talk a little bit about that. And primarily, there are a lot of different things that people say crowdfunding about, but it's not the same thing. So there's primarily 3 different categories that can be good to know about, so you don't actually mix up the wordings. The most common one, and the one that we did, and that's also probably most relevant for you guys, is the pre-orders based on perks or contributions or pre-orders. There are also, like in Sweden, there's a company called Funded by Me that some of you might... And crowdfunder, and that's more where you actually buy equity in the company in order to fund a project or a company or something like that. And then there are other things like Lending Club and Funding Circle, where it's actually more a debt. You borrow money through other peers. So those are the main categories, but there are others for nonprofits, and there's a lot of different crowdfunding campaigns. But we did Indiegogo. And for us, that worked great. I was really, really, really nervous when we did this. We launched at something called Stockholm Tech Fest in September, and I didn't know. I mean, sure, I had an idea, and I wanted this. And I had sold my apartment in Stockholm and everything I own in order to do this, which is nuts. So I didn't really know. I went up on that stage, and I had no idea if it was me and my mom and 2 neighbors that was going to support me, or if it's going to be something that someone else wanted as well. So it was really scary. But luckily for us, we reached our goal in 10 hours. And we now have paying customers in more than 49 countries. So we're pretty happy about that. So we closed our campaign on Friday, and we have more than 300% of our planned goals. So for us, crowdfunding was a good thing. But what about you as larger corporations? Is this something that can work for you? Well, it's actually a good idea. It can be a good idea because it's a good way to get early market testing. You can try a product. If you have a product that you want to go out with, it might be really hard to go through all the internal policies and bureaucracy and stuff like that. It's also a good way to get feedback early. You can maybe try a subset or start the development before you do, like I know we did, like some of the larger corporations in Sweden, like we didn't go out and talk to the customer until like 2 years. We've developed this thing and it's perfect, and then the customer say, "Nah, we don't want it." That's not a good use of your money. So maybe you can take a subset and try out, do a project. Is this something the customer wants? Get them involved early. Try pricing or colors or a service offering or a business model or whatever it is that you do that might be suitable for this. Because you can also engage with your customers really early on through this kind of forum. And for startup, it's easy to show like visibility. It's like, okay, me and Isak and Johanna and some other people in the company, we are on the site and you can see who they are. But if you come as Alfa Laval or Stora Enso or IKEA or whatever, it's kind of, that's the company. It's very hard to relate to a brand. But if it's Göran at Alfa Laval who's doing this thing, or if it's Monica at IKEA who's doing this thing, you can see a person behind it, it's easier to relate, and it's also a good way of building a relationship and credibility and connection, which can be hard for large corporations. So it can be very good for team spirit, and also in the new age we're going into, you need to be more genuine and more real, so you need to connect with people in a different way. And it's also given that it's different, and it can also expose your brand to PR or to different community. Maybe it is developers, maybe it's for employer branding that you want to show that we're doing cool stuff here too. So there might be really good ideas for you to do it. So GE, for example, have been using crowdfunding in order to do new projects and try the market. And I know Hasbro has been developing games through crowdfunding and test stuff. So there are cases out there and people are doing it. But it's still pretty new, so you can be early adopters. But we have learned quite a lot in this process. And some of the things are that it's not easy. You shouldn't say like, oh yeah, we'll build a thing and we put it on a crowdfunding platform. It's going to be super easy and people are going to come and buy it. It's really, really hard. First of all, you need to communicate. What is it that you're doing? What kind of benefits will it give to the people that you're trying to sell to? Learn social media. That is not my thing. I actually don't know that. I know your stuff. I know internal politics, I know business to business, I know strategy and stuff like that. I'm a digital immigrant. I'm not a digital native. I'm too old for that. That is something I need to learn, and I assume some of you guys need to learn as well. But one of the concrete things is that in order for you to be successful on crowdfunding, you need to do the work before you actually launch the campaign. You need to have an email list. That's what converts best. You need to engage with the community. You need to do outreach and stuff beforehand, so that when you actually hit the start button, it goes out with a blast. We did something called a thunderclap. So we reached 1.2 million people at the same time in 2 time zones when we hit go. So it's not that easy. So start early. And also, know who your target audience are. Will they be at Kickstarter or Indiegogo? Is that the people you want to know? You might want to learn some of these mindset, but you might want to do an innovation competition or co-innovation things at your company website and use a lot of the same thinking as you do in crowdfunding, but you use it within your own context. So know your target market. But even if you don't know everything and do everything perfectly, like we did not know social media, we did pretty good anyway. In these two months, we have reached more than 1.9 million people. I've gotten we've gotten more than 110 articles from all over the world. We have people from China and Japan, and we have customers from Burma to Brazil, and people have reached out and are super excited about what we do. People that I had never thought about, like diabetics that are, oh my God, this will change my life because I'm always nervous. They have their syringes in little wallet things that are theft prone, and people are like, this will really make a difference in my life. And they are excited about what we do. So think about that. So that's kind of the conclusion. If you're going to do something that matters to people. And then people will come. So solve real problems. But also, if I could start a hardware company in 100 days with 0 money and 0 colleagues to begin with, I mean, it's not the big that beats the small anymore. It's the fast that beats the slow. So you have to go out there, and crowdfunding might be right for you, but be fast. That's me.